Greetings, kindred. I am Voivode Maquette, and welcome back to episode 5 of Vampire the Masquerade Coteries of New York. We're running with the Brujah Eric this time around, so let's go ahead and continue on his little attempt to build a coterie. You notice something strange by the front door of your haven. A letter's been slipped under the door in a cream-colored, old-fashioned envelope. There's no name on it, but you know it's meant for you. Opening the letter, it's clear it's been sent by someone incredibly old-fashioned, rich, or a fan of classic stationery. No normal person sent this letter. The note is short and terse, written in elegant, delicate handwriting. You are cordially invited to a rendezvous at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine. I'll be waiting to make your acquaintance tomorrow night. Look for me closer to God. There's no other information. It looks like you have a mysterious invitation for the following night. Alright, so let's continue on our gumshoe in the dark. A recent string of violent killings has a Red Hook district of Brooklyn on edge. Sophie mentioned that Kadir al-Asame has a secret associate investigating the murders, a Nosferatu neonate by the name of D'Angelo. If you help him out, he might be persuaded to form a lasting partnership. As you make your way down Clinton Street, the incessant hum of traffic gives way to the ominous silence of the waterfront. You stop to take in the familiar bouquet of the Hudson, made all more potent by your recent sharpened senses. Across the basin, the Red Hook grain terminal rears its rusty frame. Once a bustling industrial area, now a sleeping giant, splayed out on the riverbank, forgotten, abandoned. Conveniently so, especially for one of the hidden. Keeping to the shadows, you sneak closer to the dilapidated complex, making your way past hole-ridden silos and wobbly chain-link fences. By the time you reach the entrance to the main building, you can almost feel the rust particles making themselves cozy at the back of your throat. Not getting your hopes up, you give the door a silent nudge. To your surprise, it gives way almost instantly. Looks like someone else has been using it recently. Once inside, you find yourself in a large empty hall, looking around. You can almost picture it, back in its heyday, stacked to the rafters with heavy machinery. You notice a set of stairs leading up to a mezzanine, most likely an office space. And then you see it, a faint light coming from one of the upper rooms. Looks like you're in luck. Quietly, with bated breath, you climb the steps and approach the dimly lit room. The door creaks open, revealing what looks like an old-timey detective's office, complete with crooked window blinds, an overflowing ashtray, and a paper scattered across the wooden desk. Suddenly it hits you, that nagging feeling. This is all too convenient, too inviting. Before you can react, the trap has already sprung. A plume of cigar smoke wafts over your shoulder. The barrel of a gun rubs against your spine. A raspy voice whispers in your ear. Let me guess. Took a wrong turn at the third silo? Driven by a strange hunch, you open your mouth. You hear yourself talking, but the words are not yours. They seem to be coming from the deepest recesses of your memory, a movie you saw as a child. You don't know why, but it seems oddly appropriate. I know what you're thinking. This punk ain't got nothing on me. I'm sitting pretty on a loaded cult detective special. 5 in the cylinder, 1 in the chamber, and I only need the 1. As corny as it sounds, the stranger seems oddly repetitive of your tongue, tough guy monologue, so you decide to bump it up a notch. Focusing your will, you boost your aura, filling the room with your presence. Your voice becomes smooth, oozing with charisma, a regular Sam Spade. You yourself can't help but feel a sense of awe. Hopefully the stranger feels it too. But then, there's that nagging feeling. What if there's more to this guy than he lets on? What if he's got me right where he wants me? Maybe. I should hear what he has to say. Is that right? Yeah. So, how about we drop the tough guy act and talk like adults? You can always shoot me once you are done. For a few tense seconds, the room grows quiet. So quiet, in fact. You could swear you can actually hear the smoke swirling in the air. Finally, the stranger speaks again. You got a point there, kid. In a strange interplay of light and shadow, the stranger reappears behind his desk. Seeing him in his full, for the lack of a better word, glory, you can't help but smirk. This is the dreaded Nosferatu. The way Sophie described them. You were expecting some grotesque monstrosity, but this guy, the clothes, the swagger, the hard-boiled detective routine, it all comes across as a bad joke. Still, when it comes to appearance, his lineage is undeniable. From 30 feet away, he could possibly pass for a bum with a nasty skin condition. From 5 feet away, he looks like something made to be seen from 30 feet away. He leans back in his chair, casually pointing his gun at you. So, what brings you to my humble office? You the one they call D'Angelo? That's my name, kid. Don't wear it out. My friends call me Jin. So, you best stick to D'Angelo for the time being. Now, I suggest you tell me, what is this about? Otherwise, I kindly ask you to get the fuck out of my office. Charming. I can see why Kadir keeps you around. His expression sours. Not a name you want to casually toss around, kid. But hey, you get it. You're not some random schmuck who wandered in here off the street. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Who? I work for less important. What I'm working on, however. The Red Hook murders, I know. I want to help you catch the killer. His moldy lips twist into a smile. Do you now? D'Angelo lowers his shades. For a few seconds, he sits motionless, with his eyes fixed in yours. Suddenly, he raises his gun, almost making you flinch. Almost. Then, he twirls it into a shoulder holster, in a flashy display that definitely looks like it was practiced. A lot. In front of a mirror. You see the Nosferatu's lips move, but the quiet mumbling clearly isn't meant for your ears. Listening in, you're able to catch snippets of his monologue. Sure, they seem to care. What was the end game? What was their angle? Everybody's got one, even if they pretend like they don't. Especially then. What the hell? Maybe this town finally got to me. He pauses, sticks a fresh cigar between his crooked teeth. Maybe a good leap of faith is just what the doctor ordered. As he reaches into his pocket, you flash a lit lighter before his eyes. Or maybe you could use a healthy dose of unhealthy. For a split second, he gives you a puzzled look. Then he leans over to your lighter, puffing on the cig as it catches fire. A wry smile comes from back to his lips. I like you, kid. You might look like a used car salesman, but there's just something about you. Tell you what, I was just about to head back to the crime scene. Take a look around, refresh my notes. You can tag along with me if you want to. I could use an assistant, someone to take notes and make wild assumptions for me to shoot down. Who knows, if you're any good, I might consider making this a long-term arrangement. What are we waiting for? Just one more thing. You still got me at disadvantage here. Seems like you've done some digging on me, but with you, I barely scratched the surface. Catch my drift? So, answer me this. Who was it that sent you into my neck of the woods? Or in layman's terms, who do you work for? Sophie Langley. For the first time since you got here, the Nosferatu adopts a genuine look of surprise. His eyes wander for a moment, finally giving way to a crooked smile. So you're the one, huh? The fledgling the Toreador Dame spared? Yeah, that would make sense. Don't think she'd appreciate you throwing her name around. Thanks for being upfront, kid. One blink is enough for you to miss D'Angelo vanishing from his chair. Just when you're about to look around, he reappears right next to you. Up close, his smile is even more unnerving. Alright, moonlight's burning. Let's get cracking. With a certain fascination, you watch D'Angelo stumble his way across West Brooklyn, oddly animated and incessantly scratching his face and neck, stopping every once in a while for a bout of mumbling narration. He's most certainly a sight to behold. Still, he seems to be getting around okay, and you take particular note of the fact that he seems to be choosing the darker, less frequented streets. There's definitely a method to his madness. Eventually, your leprous guide takes a sudden turn off Fambure Street and into a particular dingy alleyway. The torn piece of yellow police tape are dead giveaway. This has to be the place. Well, here we are. Time for you to earn your stripes. This is where they found him, drained dry. Not a drop of blood in him. Before you ask, no, I didn't get to see the body, so I don't know if there were any bite marks. So, what can you tell me? Take a moment to examine the crime scene. Judging by the chalk outline on the pavement, the man was killed recently. Curiously, there doesn't appear to be a trace of blood or viscera. And you know the city's cleanup crew isn't that fast or that thorough. Looking up, you notice a spray-painted sign on the wall. It reads, "The blood speaks," in big, crooked letters. You look to D'Angelo. The Nosferatu gives you an expecting look. You point at the spray-painted sign. That looks like a clue. Sure, kid. Might as well start with the elephant in the room. What do you think it means? You give the sign a good look or hard look. It's no Rembrandt. The writing's jagged, clearly done in a hurry. Nothing. It's meant to throw us off. Nah. I can see why you'd think that, but look how crooked the letters are. Barely legible. You can't fake something like that. Someone was very nervous, very scared. It definitely meant something to them. And then there's the blood, or lack thereof. And given that the murder was committed right here and the victim didn't make a sound, we can therefore conclude that killer was kindred. Bingo! Only a kindred could drain a human this quickly, this quietly. Tell me, if you were to guess, which clan would you say our killer belongs to? This is thin blood written all over it. D'Angelo smiles approvingly. In bright neon letters, a fully fledged kindred would use this power to lure the victim somewhere out of sight. And they certainly wouldn't stick around for some shitty art project. Pauses. Spits out a mangled remains of a cigar. Shit. Looks like we're gonna have to pay Lawson a visit. You don't sound too happy about that. It's complicated. Lawson's got a neat setup, for thin blood anyway. Lives with his family. Mortal family, mind you. Even though he's a primogen, he's managed to shield them from kindred politics. That takes some doing. Not sure if he knows who the killer is, but he could probably make an educated guess. In any case, we'd be doing him a favor. If it turns out one of his is violating the masquerade, it would put him in a hell of an awkward position. And I mean a shitting upside down awkward. It's the kind of weakness the other primogen would love to exploit. His position in the council is bad as it is. He pauses for a moment and mumbles to himself, but too quiet for you to make out. Finally, he lights up a fresh cigar. He takes a puff and lets the smoke escape through his crooked smile. Alright, kid. Let's get this over with. Compared to the industrial ugliness of Red Hook, Sterling Place is quite a change of scenery. The heavily gentrified and pleasantly dull residential area emanates a sort of peaceful apathy that rich hipsters scoff at and blue-collar workers dream of. All of a sudden, a Nosferatu stops. It almost seems like he was taking a deep breath, steeling himself for things to come. This is the place. With that, he points to a surprisingly nice-looking two-story house. The place is almost completely dark. Almost. You notice a dim light shining through the curtains of an upper-story window. It's probably safe to assume that the head of the family is working late, especially if the head of the family happens to be a vampire. Alright, kid. We gotta be gentle about this. I'm talking velvet gloves, soft cushions. You rang, my lord gentle? We need to get Larson out here without making a fuss or letting his family see us. If we blow this, he'll shut down like a speakeasy on raid night. Trust me. I fucking know. Sounds like you have some kind of history. Sounds about right. But that's a story for another night, for another time. Right now, let's stick to why we're here. Tell you what, how about you take the lead on this one? I'm curious to see how you can handle it. You take a step back and look around the area. The lit up window seems like a safe bet. Now it's just a matter of getting Larson's attention. His and no one else's. As you're trying to come up with a viable strategy, you're suddenly startled by a loud noise. It takes you less than a second to identify the sound of a dog barking. It doesn't take long to figure out where it came from. As a bearded man leading a Rottweiler comes into view. Feet on the man walking his dog. You kneel down, pick up a rock off the lawn. One small enough not to break glass, but big enough to get some attention. Deftly, you chuck the rock at the window. Bounces off the glass with a quiet but audible thunk. Moments pass in silence, making you think no one got your message. Just as you start looking for another rock, you hear the window slide open. A very unassuming and slightly unshaven man in a turtleneck appears at the window. As soon as you notice him, his expression sours, like he just smelled something rotten. He addresses your Nosferatu partner in what can only be described as a very loud, very angry whisper. Get the fuck off my lawn, D'Angelo. You know goddamn better than to show your ugly mug around here. You glance over at D'Angelo. He looks somewhat embarrassed, scratching the back of his neck, clearly trying to find the right angle to play this. We wouldn't have bothered you if this wasn't important. Eric, stay where you are. You wait in the lawn, listening to Larson quietly making his way downstairs. Before long, he appears on the porch, locking the front door behind him. He motions at you to follow him off to the side of the house. There, he turns to you. What do you want? It's about the Red Hook murders. We think one of yours is responsible. Bullshit. A Dustborn got enough trouble just staying alive out there. What could possibly make them openly violate the masquerade? Desperation? The killer's been leaving messages. Whoever they are, I think they know something. Something they can't share with just anyone. I know it seems far-fetched, but it's the only way this puzzle fits together. No, I don't buy it. You're reaching, trying to find a scapegoat. Get in your boss's good graces. Word gets around, D'Angelo. You think I don't know who you're working for? Then help us clear your people's name. What do you got to lose? Everything. I've been a thorn in the council's side for a while now. This is just an excuse they need to get rid of me. What if it turns out to be one of yours that did it? And you sat on your hands to protect him. You think the council won't jump on that? He looks off in the darkness, pondering his options. He lets out a heavy sigh. Look, I'll ask around, consult my sources. If it turns out one of my own is responsible, they will face justice. In the meantime, keep your deductions to yourself. I've had enough trouble as it is. Deal. Good. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to get back to my family. And with that, Larson retreats to his elusive safety of his home. You decide it's best to move along. You walk a couple blocks in utter silence. Even D'Angelo's mumbling seems to have taken a back seat. Oddly enough, you find a newfound reticence. Wow, that word was just like killing me. You found his newfound reticence somewhat unnerving. Finally, the Nosferatu stops and turns towards you. Hell of a night. I don't know about you, kid, but I could sure use a drink. Something warm. In a tall, sweaty glass. But first, let me tally your score. Let's see now. You did make a good first impression. I like someone who can talk themselves out of a tight spot. Talking's cheap. Bullets? Not so much. You held your own at the crime scene. Nothing I hadn't figured out on my own, but hey, we can't all be professionals. Finally, when the situation called for subtlety, you managed to avoid unwanted attention. Discretion is what separates a private dick from just any old dick. All in all, you did fine. Not fine, but not bad for your first case. Don't let it get to your head. I'll be in touch. Let you know if I hear from Lawson. Be ready to meet me at my office. He starts to walk away, but suddenly stops and turns back towards you. And bring a notepad. Every good assistant should have one. Ooh, we're in the middle of the night. Searching for Hope. Sophie suggests that you meet Hope, a reclusive member of Clan Malkavian. She's supposedly holed up in an internet cafe in Lower Manhattan. Let's try that. It's a quiet, moody internet cafe. Half of its space serves as a comfy coffee bar these days. But behind a glass wall, it still has a space dedicated to a row of PCs. From the street, you can notice tired adults in casual clothes, typing away absent-mindedly, and some bored kids wasting the late evening hours on colorful online games. If Sophie's intel is to be believed, this is where Hope has set up her haven. One of the waiters is standing outside the building, gazing at the sky with a smartphone in hand and a vape pen in the other. You approach the man and tell him, "Hey, I'm looking for Hope." He releases a soft chuckle. "Yeah, you and me both." The man slowly takes a drag from his e-cig, sizing you up and down in silence. After a long, awkward moment, when you're ready to leave him be, he raises his voice again. "Come, right this way." He heads back into the cafe, and you follow his lead. When you make your way through the space with computers, no one averts their gaze from the spreadsheets, emails, Facebook profiles, games of Fortnite. It's a common sight, one you would have paid much attention to a few weeks ago, but now it seems so unnervingly quiet, or so unnervingly quaint. Would they still be spending their time like this if they were immortal? The waiter unlocks an unassuming door at the end of the room and lets you inside. You two swiftly make your way through a labyrinth of sterile gray corridors, taking confusing twists and turns. Feels like you're traveling into a different world, crossing one invisible portal after another. Eventually, you reach your destination. Your guide motions you to enter a dark room with a lone source of pale light, a computer screen in the distance, beckoning you to come closer. As you do, you hear the door shutting behind your back and a short chuckle echoing behind it. Is this the place? Nothing else to do but sit on a chair in front of the computer. Then the monitor displays modern chat application. A cursor is blinking in the username entry field in the middle of the screen, obviously expecting you to input your handle. After a brief consideration, you type in maybe it's your newfound sensibilities going haywire, but this place has barely noticeable sleazy aura. Might as well go along with it. You input Pornos Collector and push the enter button. After a few seconds, the chat window opens and messages start appearing on the screen in quick succession. Hostage Executioner. Oh god. I have to wait for it to actually stop. Okay, hostage executioner. Just to be clear, I don't have a wank rag. LMAO. Oh, for sure. Hostage execution. Jerry. Jesse Hooker. Not much longer. Bastardo. Yeah, Jerry is the chat MVP. Hostage executioner. I mean, I've admitted to far worse things on here. Sex bozo. I am a god so horny. God, I'm so horny. Hostage executioner. Not sure why I've have a need to lie about this one. Cult of Luna. Oh my god. Literally, who cares? Turtle guy. You and me both. Bozo. Heart's filthy lesson. Wait. You and me both, bozo. Heart's filthy lesson. Wait. Who is Porno Collector? Jesse Hooker. Porno Collector? Hopeful no one. No idea. Thirst victim. A new user. Wasn't here a second before. Hostage executioner. What the hell? Was anyone informed? Hopeful no one. No announcement. Heart's filthy lesson. I know, I wasn't. At Jerry 2010. Cult of Luna. Jerry 2010. At Porno Collector. Identify yourself within 2 minutes or get banned. That was fun. The chat goes silent. Everyone seemingly waiting for you to say something before proceeding. This must be a close-knit group. Better say something before they kick you out. Looking for Hope. Is she here? Vulgar. Who the fuck are you? Hopeful no one. Wow. Okay. Malkavians. Okay. Vulgar. Who the fuck are you? Hopeful no one. This was meant to be a safe channel. Jerry 2010. Investigating that. What went wrong? Sexy bozo. How did you even get in here? Jerry 2010. Stay calm. Hopeful no one. Can you get their location? Jerry 2010. LOL. Jerry 2010. Yeah. Sure. Bastardo. That's our Jerry 2010. Gonna DM it to anyone interested. Bastardo. Oh boy. Now you're in trouble. At Pornos Collector. Hostage Executioner. Yeah. You're gonna regret. Cult of Luna, dumbass, hostage executioner. Day you decide to spy on us. Okay. You've had enough of this trash-talking randoms. Time to teach them some respect. Your blood fires up. Ancient power starts coursing through your veins. Fingers tapping the key buttons on their own. You people better stay quiet if you know what's good for you. You have no idea who you're messing with. You will obey me. The chat goes silent once again, and then it explodes. Just gonna let this go for a minute. Okay, here we go. Thirst victim. Ha 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 ha. Bastardo, what am I looking at here? Sexy bozo, lol, vulgar. Oh shit, watch out, he started typing properly. Heart's filthy lesson. I'm so glad I decided to log in earlier today. Fuck porno's collector. You have no idea who you're messing with. Heart's filthy lesson. Would be so pissed if I missed this. Vulgar. You know he means business. Thirsty victim. Ha 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 ha. Guess your powers don't work online. Go figure. You know your cheeks would turn red right now if they still could. Jerry 2010. Got the info. Thirst victim. Nice. Turtle guy. You wanna die, asshole? Jesse Hooker. You will die. Cult of Luna. You will die. Fuck porno's collector. Die. Neoliable. Die. Bastardo. Laugh my ass off. Laughing my ass off at everyone sensing porno collector to death. Cult of Luna. I'm literally on my way to kill you. Right now. Thirst victim. Yeah. Sorry to inform you. You are about to die. Vulgar. Rest in peace, bitch. Queen of the South. You are getting your throat slit right here, right now. A split second after you read the message, you feel someone's arm tighten around your neck. The violent return to reality catches you off guard. A jolt of panic rushes through your brain, paralyzing you momentarily. You've come to the wrong chat room, motherfucker. A ridiculous whisper rings out to your ear, and the grip under your head gets even tighter. You start struggling, but even with your newfound supernatural strength, you're having trouble breaking them out of this. This isn't a normal human you're dealing with. Last words? Sophie sent me here. Langley. The hand holding your chin shifts its position slightly. Don't struggle or I'll break your windpipe. Or my phone. Which would be even worse for you. Sounds of a camera shutter and light flashing. Did they just take some selfies with you? Alright, that's enough fun. I'm letting you go. We can have a talk. Don't do anything stupid, Mr. Intruder. Pretty please. The mysterious assailant loosens their grip on you and gently pushes you away. You quickly turn to take a good look at them. Let me just finish this. It's a pale blonde woman in her 20s, giving you slightly judgmental look while rapidly tapping away on her phone screen. First, you notice her outrageous outfit, seemingly thrown together from random thrift store finds. Then you take note of her tattoos, a sprawling tapestry of odd patterns, in designs covering every visible part of her body. At first glance, it all seems aimless, but it has a consistent sense of style upon closer inspection. Her eyes focus on you for a second. Give you a scare, huh? Sorry. That's what you get for entering a lady's haven without permission. And she's back on her phone. With her relatively small build, it's hard to believe you had trouble overpowering her physically. But then again, nothing is what it seems when it comes to the undead. And even compared to the vampires you've met so far, she comes off as eccentric, curious presence. She shoots you another glance, noticing you're still cautious of her. Calm yourself, man. I won't pull anything like this anymore. It was just feel stupid saying out loud, a vibe check. Vibe check? Yeah, I got a glimpse of your vibe on the internet. In a dangerous situation. I say I've got a pretty good idea about who you really are. I'm Hope, by the way. If you're here, you've probably heard of me, so I went ahead and skipped the pleasantries. But, come to think of it, I might have skipped too many of those. Yeah, she definitely fits the description you were given by Sophie. I still can't believe you got so mad online. You actually tried to use your powers on people talking trash about you from who knows where? Jesus. But, you know, I kind of respect the dedication. It's amusing. Oh yeah, credit where it's due. You're probably not a boring person online, going by your chosen handle. Believe it or not, among bloodsuckers, that's still rare as hell. Most of them are like clueless baby boomers when it comes to internet stuff. Anyway, don't worry about the chat. It was all a game to us. No hard feelings, okay? I'll introduce you properly later. On the monitor, the chatter continues normally. Your visit is like yesterday's news, no longer relevant to anything. But, look. If we're gonna talk about you, you should have something to say, too. What are you doing here? About time, she asked. Note to self, she really loves the sound of her own voice. Sophie Langley sent me here. Hope rolls her eyes. Yeah, you've said that already. You think I'm an idiot or something? I'm going to say this once. Please, 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 don't be boring. She starts tapping on her phone again. After a few seconds, some kind of realization dawns on her face, and she turns back to you. Wait, shit! Are you the new Langley plaything? Word seems to be getting around fast. Of course you are. It was obvious the second Langley got her hands on her new servant, she starts building a network. Your emissions tell me that could really come in handy when... but Langley... That's a risky game. This kind of ambition attracts too much attention. Piss off. But then again, fuck Kara. She seems to be having a spirited argument with herself. Only parts are audible. Is it just you, or do her facial expressions and bodily language change a bit in between one sentence to another? Before you make certain it's not just your eyes playing tricks on you, she focuses herself, half of her attention back on you. The other half, of course, is obsessed with her smartphone. Listen, I'm not saying that I'm not interested in cooperation, but before I make a decision, I need to make sure you're sort of, you understand me, and that I understand you. And since I was planning to put on a show before you came here, I propose a little game. Hope absentmindedly spins her phone in her hand, considering how to put her thoughts into words. Then she approaches a switch on the wall and flicks it. Neon lights flare up, illuminating the room. You take a look around. The room is certainly unique. It looks like a butcher's room, repurposed to be a living space. The modern computer in front of you starkly contrasts the ominous industrial walls. At the back, there's a overwrought bed covered in velvet, with meat hooks hanging above it. On top of the bed sheets, you notice what seems to be pieces of an elaborate S&M equipment and a camera. Wait a minute. You want my help? Moderate my cam show. Cam show? Your eyebrows twitch involuntarily. This is definitely not the kind of request you expected to hear tonight. She notices your confusion. Take it or leave it, buddy. You just became kindred? Do you want to become my partner in crime? Show me you can handle yourself while watching my back in my everyday environment. She's serious. The show starts in 10 minutes. If you think yourself better than this, better walk out the door right now. I won't hold a grudge. I've got better things to do. As if to prove it, she looks at something displayed on her phone and cracks a brief grin. Another reply typed down with an absurd speed. Tap, 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 tap. 9 minutes. It's now or never. Show moderator. Risk of violating the masquerade? High. Content warning? Oh yes. So, do you take the job? Why the hell not? Why the hell not? Hope brightens up, and her smile looks surprisingly sincere. Excellent. I promise you might find this interesting in more ways than one. Alright, give me a second. She spends a minute setting up the computer you used before, then urges you to sit down. The explanation of moderation functionalities is simple. It boils down to ignoring anyone who doesn't disrupt the chat, banning anyone who does, and kicking anyone who's causing minor trouble. 5 minutes later, she's already online, sitting on her bed in a provocative pose. It is a sex show, isn't it? Her voice, previously hushed, rings out with full force. How are you doing tonight, hopefuls? You peek at the chat. We're not worthy. Queen. Fucking A. Angel. TOT. Hell yeah, time to fuck. You're tempted to kick and ban prompts as soon as possible, but obviously, you won't punish anyone for a little dirty talk. Thank you. Today's show is quite special. Please welcome our new moderator, Pornos Collector. Turtle Guy. Laugh my ass off. Laugh my ass off. Hearts Bully Lesson. Ooh. Don Daigo? Oh wait. Who? Bastardo. Laugh my ass off. Sorry for sentencing you to death earlier. At least the community here seems a bit more welcoming this time. Looks like this place has an established hazing ritual. Or maybe they and Hope came up with one specifically for you. Who knows? You decide to stay silent. Eventually, people stop riffing on you and focus entirely on the star of the show. Alright, let's start this one with a bang, shall we? Art's filthy lesson. Jerry. It begins, called the Luna Queen. Pooning, oh boy, she's gonna do it. So, this is where the strip show starts. You raise your head, curious about what kind of performance she's gonna perform. First, she opens her mouth and reveals her retractable fangs in front of the camera. Right off the bat, the online audience is treated with a sight of her wholly human set of teeth turning into a monster's maw. The image is both revolting and fascinating. She raises her left wrist for everyone to see, and then bites. The fangs immediately turn her arm into a horrifying, gory mess. It's unclear if she used them to slash or bite, but one thing's for sure, no ordinary human could cause such damage. If an ordinary human suffered such a wound, you'd expect a geyser of blood to appear, too, but it doesn't. Hope's technically a corpse, so it's impossible. She flashes a monstrous smile and starts smearing VtM all over her hand to maximize the impact of the violent image. Then she starts drinking it up. She makes it a point to make the sight as gruesome as possible, looking like a hyena feasting on a corpse. The contrast of her behavior with her look of an Instagram model is stunning. Once she's done, she reveals her wrist to the camera for the last time. She starts making theatrical gesture with her right hand as the wound begins to mend. Shortly after, the wound is gone. It's like a magician's trick. Her left hand looks like nothing bad ever happened to it. Here's an appetizer. First blood to kick off the show. While you're wondering what the hell is going on, Hope catches a glimpse of your bewildered face and turns into your direction. How is that for an opening? You're shooting snuff. Come on. Just because it's transgressive violence doesn't mean it's snuff. A brief moment of awkward silence. Besides, if I was shooting snuff, I wouldn't mend the wound. If you expected a strip show, yeah, sorry to disappoint. This is more like live stream digital art. The erotic subtext is there, of course. You peek at the chat. They're going wild. Cult of Luna. She did that! Jesse Hooker. Oh, there's a lot. For free, Sexy Bozo. Hopeful no one. I'd love to lick your wrist clean, my fallen angel. Bender. Ha 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 ha. Yes, Sexy Bozo. Nothing more arousing than a beautiful woman teetering on the edge of oblivion. Rose petal dancing in the eye of a malevolent violent hurricane. But eroticism is not the key here. It's vampirism. It's a new frontier. A living art installation. In the early 90s, the Japanese artists kept producing these videotapes with beautiful women committing gory harikari. Those are an inspiration. She bares her fangs again in a devious grin. But I've no interest in auto-destruction or turning myself into a victim. This is a celebration of the body I love, not self-inflicted punishment. The audience came here to marvel at a beautiful vampire and her awe-inspiring powers. Mending wounds is just one of these powers. The people watching can pay to see more. Oh, and don't worry. The only thing the audience can see and hear are the things I allow them to. We can talk freely. Just remember to moderate the chat, will you? High risk of violating the masquerade. What a joke. She's blatantly breaching it in front of anonymous viewers. Still speechless, you turn to your audience on the screen. Multiple X's 69. Maya Copa. Thirst victim. Alright, I'm feeling generous today. Don Giago. Have you planned your next tattoo yet? Thirsty victim. I'll pay for the next attraction. Dick Steele. Looking like a pink marshmallow covered in raspberry sauce. Turtle guy. Thirsty victims just letting you know you're based. Thirst victim. I know. Masochist Sama. Holy crap. You let the guy vent his excitement. Seems harmless. A special message appears in the chat log, claiming somebody has successfully sponsored the goal of the first show. Hope smiles and picks up a bag of blood from underneath the bed. It must have been retrieved from a blood bank. She showcases the label to the camera for everyone to see. Heart's filthy lesson. Drink it up. Fuck porno collector. Drink it up. Thirst victim. Drink up. Heart. Hopeful no one. Drink up. Triple R. Hope pours all the contents of the bag into her throat. You have no doubt it's real blood, but wonder why the viewers would be so satisfied with something that's so easy to fake. Don't worry, it pays well enough. You don't even bother to tell her this is not what you're thinking about. Safe to assume she knows. So, what do you know about the Kindred and the internet? Have they told you anything? While she's waiting for someone to sponsor her next vampiric feat, she decides to start a conversation. No, nothing. Well, makes sense. Not the first thing you teach to a fledgling. See, some of us used to experiment with our own secure networks. We tried to build our own information hubs, social networks, everything. She's still working the phone in one hand while looking for something under the bed with the other. On how many things she can concentrate on at one time exactly. Then one day, the NSA got in. Turned out elders never really got the hang of proper security practices, or the site they used to smear on others didn't deem exactly work as advertised. Then, of course, all the other three-lettered intelligence agencies in the world got the intel, and a lot of them decided bloodsuckers were the perfect new enemies for our post-9/11 times. The Second Inquisition came into being. Ever heard of it? A lot of our kind died just because they were too present online. Right now, The remains of our old networks serve as government honeypots, kept alive to attract fledglings and hunt them down. You post a certain keyword on Twitter or Facebook, you get tagged for investigation. You fit certain patterns, you get tagged for investigation. So, there's a certain thrill to becoming an online presence without attracting attention from the authorities. She stretches on the bed. I hope you're still monitoring that chat. Of course not. You're not as good as dividing your attention as she is. You correct your mistake and check the recent messages. Thirst victim. Aww. Jesse Hooker. Is she talking to somebody? Sexy bozo. Can't wait for the real thing to start. Pooning. Nice. This 2-monitor setup rules. Call of Duty on one screen. Drop dead hotness on the second screen. Dick Steele. The only woman I don't hate. Nice. Hope has crabs and gonorrhea. Hope more like my favorite hoe. Personally, I want to kick off Dick Steele. You give the guy a kick. Get yourself a normal nickname, douchebag. After 10 seconds, he's back with the same handle. Time for a decision, ban or ignore. Ignore. Despite the nickname, they seem supportive. You leave them alone. You look away from the screen for a second. When you look back, there are 3 new messages from the same user. Oh, that's not the one I wanted to... Oh well. Yo, is it just me, or does your face look kind of retarded? Hope has crabs and gonorrhea, but don't worry, baby, if you're a special needs person, I have a special thing here to satisfy you. My dick. Doing a great job back there, porno collector. The guy gets banned, and Hope is back to running the show. Great job. They must have heard her. You've messed up. Aw. Anyway, yeah. When the Nosferatu admitted to the Camarilla their network got compromised, the elders went batshit insane. Internet communications became strictly forbidden. There were executions. A lot of people who use social media to secretly contact their mortal families and lovers got offed. That goes without saying. But if you weren't careful, even the most innocent web usage could result in being pushed to final death. Thanks to users Dick Steele, the next goal has been gotten, successfully funded. Turtle Guy. Let's go! Vanishing Act. Turtle. Dehumanize yourself and face the bloodshed. She raises her hand, 3 fingers up, 2 fingers up, 1 finger up. The countdown ends and she immediately disappears from the screen like a ghost. You can still see her on the bed, but the live feed indicates there's nobody there. When you deeply focus on the digital image, you swear you can make out the unusual glittering where her silhouette should be. But it could be very well be just a placebo. You ready for this? 3, 2, one. A flash of the camera. The instant she reappears on the screen. She takes a selfie, sticking her tongue out in a provocative manner. The chat room explodes in cheers again. She is their vampire queen. You briefly wonder about her being glued to the screen. Is this the fantasy everyone is here for? A girl showing off cheap magic tricks while lazily browsing her social media? You realize you are way out of your depths here. Meanwhile, Hope decides to continue her lecture. So, were some wild times. Those were some wild times, especially in New York. While most of them have no clue as to our real nature, a lot of clandestine organizations have classified us as national threats. And since this is where the towers fell, the agencies are very much present around here, looking for easy PR victories. The last SI raid here was just a few years ago, and it was a big one. Stirred up a hornet's nest, something fierce. But, although it's 2019, NYC is ruled by someone who got embraced before World War fucking II. And the cam, as a whole, got really spooked and swore off the internet. Of course, they're not dumb and understand that you can't really coexist with modern kind without the internet. It's a gray zone right now, like piracy. Technically frowned upon, but let no one without sin cast the first stone. The SI is a real threat, no joke, but in many senses, the darkest place is right under the candle. You take another look at the screen. Bender, we want blood. Fuck porno collector. How about some bat stuff? Bat stuff? Can you do some bat stuff? Can you show us next time? Jesse Hooker. It's been a long, hard day. Please give me a shout out. A familiar nickname pops up. Masochist Sama. The kick. You give the guy a kick for spamming the chat. The message is deleted so fast, Hope might not have even noticed. A duty carried out well. You're surprised to feel an inkling of pride. Oh yeah. Fun fact about being a vampire, we can sweat and pee. If we just exert ourselves really hard, some of us can even orgasm. We can even cry, but only tears of blood. It's something I've always dreamed of doing when I was 14, so romantic. And it drives them crazy. As proof of her words, a scarlet tear starts running down her face. The chat goes wild. This seems to be exactly the kind of thing they're waiting for. Thirst victim. Ah! Turtle guy. An angel. Well, so many chats. An angel that fell down from heaven. Hopeful no one. Faces. Best order. Oh my god, she did it again. Hostage executioner. Beautific. Turtle guy. Hope your tortured soul finds some calm eventually. Fuck man. Fuck man. Can you imagine USA assembling a blood-sucking squad that would just cruise by the borders and suck the blood out of Very thought gives me the biggest boners. Banned. And banned. Just to be clear, you realize what you're doing here is a blatant breach of the masquerade, right? I honestly expected you to leave or inform somebody by now. But you haven't, have you? You try to focus on the chat. A familiar nickname is displayed on the screen. Ban. Looks like Mr. Masochist needs a longer break. After you ban him, you hear Hope's voice. Good job handling that guy. Great. If nothing else works out, seems like you fit this job at the very least. In any case, the last goal has just been funded. It's time for the grand finale. This is what you've all been waiting for, right? Thirst victim. Yes, Queen. Jerry 2010. Yes, Queen. Hearts will be lessened. Yes, Queen. Her voice has changed. She gets closer to the camera, letting her face fill the frame of the live feed. Her mesmerizing eyes are focused purely on the viewers. You wanted blood? Come out into the streets. Claw out your neighbors' throats. Thrash their veins and drink up. Sexy Bozo. Yes, Queen. Pooning. Yes, Queen. Jesse Hooker. Yes, Queen. Hope's present becomes absolutely horrifying, and it influences the chat in some incomprehensible way. Everyone starts typing like they're possessed. Liberate yourself from the shackles of ordinary morality. Make them scream. Feel the warmth of their entrails. Cult of Luna. What the hell is she doing to those people? What have you gotten yourself into? Transcend your bodies. Release the message of hope into the world. She jerks violently for a second and then falls down on the bed like a marionette that had just had its strings severed. She exhales loudly a few times and laughs. When she does, the room goes dark again. Alright, that's enough. Instead of continuing, she does something with her phone. The stream ends, and the chat instantly becomes dead quiet. Let me take over. The atmosphere in the room has completely changed. She's already put herself together and stood up. Now she's walking towards you. At Vulgar, what the fuck just happened? At Jerry 2010. Guess the show is over. Everyone relax and go home. At Hostage Executioner. Aw, and I was almost ready to come, bros. At Cult of Luna. Hostage. I swear on my father's grave, one day I will find you and kick the ever-living shit out of you. After every line she delivers, she changes her voice. The way she puts her lips together. And even the way she moves. You've caught a glance of her acting this way, but only now have you started to figure it out. Wait a minute. Does that mean at Miss Point du Lac, I'm immortal, I'm bored, I'm separated from most vampires in this city by a generational chasm, and I'm so goddamn lonely. The internet used to be my only friend. Info dump delivery service years ago. I started researching tulpas, collective unconsciousness, all the mumbo jumbo at the intersections of psychology and spirituality, and I decided to experiment. The show is fake. At Honey Legion, a few years later, I was an Instagram fascinata, a successful erotic model, a vital part of pop culture commentary, a viral shit poster, a cryptocurrency expert. At Honey Legion, all of my internet selves started signal boosting each other, paving the way for new ones. I became one woman empire surrounded by legions of psychopaths. The chat was fake. At me, some may think of it as dissociative identity disorder, but that's bullshit. Everyone has an online alter ego they bury. I just resurrected them, gave birth to new ones, let them crossbreed. Her constant tapping of the phone, even during the show, somehow she's capable of impersonating an entire chat room. At literally a perfect angel. That took a second. I don't even have a self that could disassociate or be mentally ill. I'm a host, a living database. At literally a perfect angel, I live because I find it fun to be an information conduit, to process trends, and support the ones I deem worthy. There was no masquerade violation. She was showing off her skills all along. She put you into the world of pure fiction. The same way she was testing you back when she was attacking you from the back. Damn. She's good at this. At Malk David Chapman. Of course. You can just ignore what I'm saying and decide I'm just another deranged Malkavian. But hey, annihilation of the self is the only way to survive in the 20th century. At Android of Notre Dame, if there ever was an era that demanded images of beautiful people transcending beyond humanity and inspiring others to do the same, it's this one. At Manhole Mermaid, although for now, because of Masquerade, my audience is quite limited. Speaking of, you want to be a star in my next movie? Sure. Why not? At Manhole Mermaid, I have a hunch you're just saying that. Still, hey, in a way, this too is transcending beyond self. That is the question. But yeah, your test is over. Now the question is, do I want to work with you? She puts away her phone for the first time since you've met and gives you a good hard look. Vibe check, Vivo. Guess I can give it a shot? Yeah. You're not that dumb. You're not that boring. And you're kind of cute. Airdoll, XOXO. Don't worry. No more modding jobs. Mods get attached. And that's always bad news. She grabs your arms and starts leading you out of her room. At GP's ass, I put you through enough shit. Next time, I'll let you in on a little job I'm doing. We'll hit the streets and see why Sophie told you to contact me. She leads you through the labyrinths of gray corridors. It's a different route than you made your way through. At unconscious diagram of achievement, this city is so much more than its elite consider real. Stick with me and I'll guide you to places Camarilla elders couldn't reach in 100 years. She leads you out of the building, into a back alley. Shitty trailer voice. Even if someone else rules the streets, we will rule the information highways. This is the power of hope. She lets out a theatrical laugh and disappears. You don't even notice when she leaves you alone, but you assume everything went as well as it could. A new ally. The power of hope. As you walk off into the night, everything around you feels a little less tangible than it did a few hours ago. Holy crap. Sorry, reading the chat was a little confusing because of the names and the abbreviations. But let's go ahead and check out our dictionary. We've only got 3. We have lineage, a vampire's bloodline, a kindred sire, sire's sire, etc., an archaic term. Thin bloods. Vampires with blood so diluted they retain many human traits. The thin bloods are invariably clanless, survivors of the last decade of pogroms, prejudice, and ostracization. Their numbers now swell. Their messy street alchemy and ability to pass as human make them uniquely suited to thrive outside kindred society and make them their own fate. Make their own fate in a postmodern night. The thin-blooded, can be any mortal origin and are not affected by their parent clan's curse, nor by their preferences in the same degree as their sire. In 2009, the Inner Circle of the Camarilla issued an edict that all thin-blooded must be branded or tattooed with the mark of the crescent moon, inked by a Tremere tattoo artist, or scorched with a beam of sunlight. The brand is irreversible. Many kindred still view the Thin Bloods as a threat to the masquerade. Weaklings, runoffs, abortions, and will destroy them if given the chance. Those who don't despise Thin Bloods tend to call them the Young Ones, Chameleons, or Dustborns. Elder, a vampire who has experienced at least 2 or more centuries of unlife. Elders are the most active participants in the Jihad, the secret self-destructive war waged between the ancient undead. Elder vampires tend to manipulate their lesser kin, using them as pawns in a terrible game, the rules of which defy comprehension. Well, that was fun. So, today, Malkavians. Malkavians. Looks like we have to go back to the gangrel at some point, but we have 2 others to meet. So we will see what we're doing next time. On that one, thank you very much for joining me for this, our 5th session of Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries of New York, with its very well set in the world of the 5th edition Vampire the Masquerade world. I am Voivode Maquette. If you enjoy my reading, God, please ignore reading chat rooms. Please drop a like. If you are enjoying the overall content of this channel, please by all means subscribe. I try to do uploads every single day. And, of course, if you know anybody who is into the world of darkness and you'd like to bring them into the fold of our world of darkness, share. Have a good evening.